My eyes widened, and I quickly jumped out of his lap. I knew that coming here to get him was a bad idea. It's bad enough that Mia and Nathan have meet. I cannot afford being emotionally attached with Nathan, even though I already am to some limits. Like, I feel pity for him. I feel bad for him. And I shouldn't. I shouldn't feel anything for him at all. But only if it was that easy. Only if the life worked as it did for the characters in the book. Only if I could look at him like I don't see half of my spent life in his eyes. Like I don't see a familiar stranger in him. Like I don't see my almost entire past in him. And how can you possibly ignore such vast part of your past? How do I forget my past? How do I forget him? Only possible if I hit my head somewhere and suffer from memory loss. I would really appreciate it right now. You'll leave him, right? His voice pulls me out of my thoughts. Heaving a deep breath, I hoped for some patience to deal with this situation, like a mature adult. Ignoring him, I leaned forward to secure his seatbelt when he caught my wrist and asked, "You will, right?" The hope in his eyes torments me. How can he do this to me? How can he cheat on me and return to my life after 4 years demanding me to leave the guy who has been nothing but incredibly good to me? You are drunk. Let's talk about it later. I answered, attempting to pull my hand away, but he doesn't let go. Without taking his eyes off me, he probes, "But I can hear, so tell me." Sighing, I said, "This is not the time, Nathan." "Why not? I think this is." "And I am tired," I snapped, loosing the cool I was so desperately trying to hold on. My loud voice earned me a few curious glances from the people in the parking area. Taking a deep breath, I pulled my hand back, and this time he let go. His face fell, but I have enough in my plate already. Rounding the car, I slid in the driver's seat and drove to his apartment. He was silent in the whole ride, and I said nothing to fill the silence either. I would rather choose silence than be torn between feeling and wanting to not feel. Parking the car, I turned to him, but he was sleeping profoundly in the seat. His long, thick lashes curtains his eyes, and the peace on his face forces me to remember the moment when he was there, with me, in our home, when everything was normal, perfect. He snores, and the memories from before rushed back to my head. "Wake up, baby." His deep and husky voice made me stir in my sleep. I felt his hot breath against my skin, tickling my neck. Groaning, I murmured, "Just a few minutes." Taking a deep breath, I pulled my hand back, and this time he let go. His face fell, "But I have enough in my plate already." Rounding the car, I slid in the driver's seat and drove to his apartment. He was silent in the whole ride, and I said nothing to fill the silence either. I would rather choose silence than be torn between feeling and wanting to not feel. Parking the car, I turned to him, but he was sleeping profoundly in the seat. His long, thick lashes curtains his eyes, and the peace on his face forces me to remember the moment when he was there, with me, in our home, when everything was normal, perfect. He snores, and the memories from before rushed back to my head. "Wake up, baby." His deep and husky voice made me stir in my sleep. I felt his hot breath against my skin, tickling my neck. Groaning, I murmured, "Just a few minutes." He kissed my neck. The sensation traveled all the way through my body, and my eyes fluttered open with a smile playing on my lips. His smiling face greeted me, making my smile widen. "Good morning, sweetheart," he whispered before burying his face in the crook of my neck. I chuckled at the ticklish feeling before threading my fingers through his hair. "You are such a sleepyhead," he complained playfully, kissing my neck softly. I rolled my eyes. "That's because a certain someone did not let me sleep the whole night." He pulled back immediately, his eyes narrowing down on me as he asked, confused, "But we didn't do anything last night?" I slapped his shoulder lightly, feeling the heat rush to my cheeks. "I meant snoring. You were snoring the whole night." "I don't snore," he denied, avoiding looking at me. I laughed. "Yes, you do." He gave me a look of mock disbelief. "You don't believe me now." "Yes, because I heard you myself." "No, you didn't." "Yes, I—" He did not let me finish as his lips came crashing down on mine. My toes curled as he kissed me with an intensity which left me breathless. Forgetting all about our silly argument, I circled my arms around his neck, pulling him closer as he deepened the kiss. The reality came crashing down on me as I found myself with him again. He slept beside me, profoundly pouring out my heart, while I felt like I was standing on a cliff, one decision away from falling down. I did not realize I was crying until a tear slid down my cheek. I wiped it off, trying to breathe without feeling like I am losing something, everything. But the weight on my shoulders, the ache in my head and torment of my heart made it unbearable. I failed to control my emotions as I buried my face in my palms and cried softly. It feels terrible. Things got so bad that I just wanted to run away and never see him again. I don't want to do it. I never asked for it. I wouldn't have been dealing with all this if Nathan wouldn't have shattered the trust I put so dearly in him. He was the one who cheated on me. He is the one who chose another woman over me. Yet here I am, being tormented. My whole life was shattered like a glass in a matter of few minutes, and I spent 4 years trying to gather the sharp and bland pieces, trying to join them together. Yet something remained empty, hollow, and now when I look at it, I realize that it is because of Nathan. Nathan is the missing piece. I envisioned him in my whole life. I wanted to raise our child with him. After planning everything so perfectly now, everything feels like a failure. Tears streamed down my cheeks continuously, and my shoulders shook as I cried in my palms. I felt like screaming, thrashing, and crying until I had no more tears left. My life was not supposed to be so complicated. My sobs grew louder, but I still felt nowhere near stopping. The sound of my phone ringing cut through the silence in the car. Nathan stirred in his sleep, murmuring something before going back to sleeping. I wiped my cheeks off immediately and took a deep breath before checking the phone. The caller ID flashes that one name which makes me want to break all over again. Lucas. Not because he has ever done something wrong to me, but because he has started to feel like peace. My eyes caught the time in the top left corner, 3:00 a.m. He doesn't usually call at such odd time unless it is necessary, so I answered the call and pressed the phone against my ear. "Are you okay?" were the first 3 words from him as soon as I answered his call. The mix of concern and impatience in his voice made me feel cared for after being alone for 4 years. I don't know if it was the overwhelming emotions or the mental breakdown which was put on a pause. But instead of faking a polite tone and answering positively, I ended up crying. "No, no, Emily, where are you?" he questioned with an urgency in his voice. In a matter of few minutes, Lucas was in front of the building where Nathan resides. I was waiting for him the parking area after dropping Nathan at his apartment. He was shit drunk and could hardly make sense of his surroundings. When I took him to his room, he thought I was taking him to mine. The nerves. "Are you okay?" he asked as soon as he approached me, his brows pinched together in concern. I nod in answer. I am. I am sorry for bothering you like this." "Don't apologize, Emily," he said firmly, and I clamped my lips shut. His eyes wandered to the tall building before recognition flickered in his eyes. Bringing his focus back to me, he asked, "Is everything okay? Why are you here?" "I came to drop Nathan home," I told him honestly. "Just thinking about drunk Nathan gives me a headache." "He was drunk," I clarified. Lucas nodded understandingly before asking, "How did you know? Were you two together?" There is a hint of fear in his voice, and I instantly understand what it is about, so I cleared the confusion quickly. "No, no. He drunk called me." "Oh." He almost sounded relieved. After a minute of silence, he proposed, "Let's go. I will drop you home." I gestured towards the parking area over my shoulder where my car is parked. "But I brought my car." "Then you can drop me," he asserted, smiling widely. "But then your car?" I asked, unsure about this proposal. It would only create more hustle the next day. His nose scrunched cutely when he answered, "I came by a cab." "Oh, okay then," I said, "let's go." He followed right behind me. I unlocked the car, and he rushed to the driver's side, opening the door for me. I couldn't help the smile which painted my lips at his thoughtful action as I watched him round the car to slide into the co-passenger seat. The drive was short, and he said nothing, just kept stealing glances at me in between, which made my cheek heat up. When I parked the car in the parking area of my building, I made no move to step out, and neither did he. Our gazes locked, his face glowing under the moonlight, caressing his face from the glass window of the car. He looked so painfully beautiful. "Remember when you said you liked me?" I asked, referring to the moment from a few days back in his cabin. Heat crawls up to my neck as I remember how he kissed me and stole my breath. He doesn't say anything, his eyes focused on mine as he nods slowly. He swallows, and his Adam's apple bobs, the sound audible in the complete silence. For a brief second, my eyes dropped to his lips. "I think I like you too," I admitted. My voice came out in a soft whisper. He leaned forward, not far away, but not close enough either. The tension is so thick that it can be cut with a knife, and no matter how desperately I want to reach out for him, relive the memory from days ago, I don't move from position. A small smirk tugs at the corner of his lips as he cocked an eyebrow at me. "You think—" The air suddenly feels too much and my mouth suddenly feels too dry, but I do not move from my place. I hold his gaze. The sound of my heart racing against my chest is audible, in the silence, or it's his. I am not quite sure. "I believe," I admitted, and the next moment his lips were on mine as his hand cupped my jaw. I kissed him back, leaning closer, feeling this sudden urge to bring him closer and remove any space from between us. But my body couldn't move. It melted in his hold, his gentle and loving touch. I could only kiss him back, as my eyes closed, savoring the moment. When he pulled back, resting his forehead against mine, both of us were panting heavily. He lifted his eyes, looking at me with that hooded gaze as he said, "There is no going back from this, Emily." It was more of a warning. A last warning before I dived into this scenario. But after denying this for so long and finally having a taste of it, I don't think I can continue to pretend I do not feel anything for him. I do, as bizarre or unprofessional as it sounds. "I know," I answered, nodding slowly. His thumb caressed my cheek, rubbing into circles as he asked, "Is it a yes or a no?" My lips parted in anticipation as I gave him the answer he always desired, yes. He pulled me into his arms, giving me a passionate kiss, as if he had been waiting for a long time, and so did I. I was like a dry flower branch being watered, waking up fiercely and wildly. And just like that, we entangled with each other as if everything was about to explode. But the luck was not on my part as a knock appeared on the window. I was too lost in him, his touch, to pay mind. It was only when the person knocked 2 more times and Lucas pulled away to look before I did too. And when I did, I wished I wouldn't have. A pure sense of mortification washed over me as I finally saw the person standing outside staring down at us with hands on their hips. God, it cannot get any worse, can it?